Well, Kamala's plan looks like it will kill the housing market. You're probably well aware housing affordability is a massive issue impacting Americans right now. In fact, a recent analysis just found that home prices are up a whopping 52% since the beginning of the pandemic. And more Americans across the country are finding that buying a home has become totally out of reach. Bankrate's 2024 housing affordability study just found that 78% of adults who don't own a home but want to cite affordability reasons as the major factor influencing their current housing situation. 56% of participants said they just don't have a high enough income right now to buy a home, and 47% said the home prices are just too prohibitive right now. But it's not just people who want to buy a home who are priced out of the market. Homeowners, too, are struggling with these major cost increases over the last few years. Bankrate found that 47% of current homeowners in the United States regret their home purchase, largely due to maintenance issues, other costs associated with owning a home. And as I covered in a recent blog post, which you can check out on our website at morrisinvest.com, homeowners who purchased a home in 2019 using adjustable rate mortgages could be on the hook for a substantial rate increase at the end of this year. All across the board, no matter what your situation is, housing affordability is impacting most Americans. I mean, every homeowner who purchased when rates were below 5% might seem to be in an attractive position. But even a portion of those Americans are locked in a situation they can't escape. Many homeowners can't afford to relocate, even if their life circumstances warrant a different housing situation. I've even heard of stories of divorced couples living together because they just can't afford to move. I think even the Wall Street Journal did a big story about that. They're like, yeah, we're divorced, but we still have to live together because of affordability of housing right now. This is how bad it is. And as we approach election season, politicians are scrambling to make sense of this affordable housing situation and how to get voters on their side. A new survey by Redfin showed that, take a look at this, that voters across the board ranked housing affordability as a key issue this election season. And a resounding 91% of adult Gen Zers say that housing affordability is the number one issue in their presidential vote right now, outweighing topics like student loan debt, abortion. You know, it's amazing to me. You know, these cultural issues that cause everyone to get in fights about, you know, they always drop to the bottom of the list as soon as the economy tanks, which we're seeing right now. And most recently, Vice President Kamala Harris proposed something interesting. Here's what she said at her economic speech in Raleigh.
We also know that as the price of housing has gone up, the size of down payments have gone up as well. Even if aspiring homeowners save for years, it often still is not enough. So in addition, while we work on the housing shortage, my administration will provide first-time home buyers with $25,000 to help with the down payment on a new home. We can do this. We can do this. All to help more Americans experience the pride of home ownership and the financial security that it represents and brings.
So that sounds great, right? It probably sounds especially amazing to those 91% of Gen Zers who say they'll be voting with this issue in mind. But here's the thing. Giving homebuyers down payment assistance at that caliber is going to do one thing, and it will only do one thing. It will ramp up demand for housing even further. The scenario could accelerate appreciation, actually worsen home affordability for Americans, especially in markets where inventory is more stable. And as we've talked about before, there's not a candidate in the world who can single-handedly make sweeping changes in the housing market, because at the end of the day, this housing issue at its core is a problem with supply and demand. So don't fall for this. Talk about fixing the affordable housing crisis is nothing but pandering to get votes. That's it. And if you want more context as to why, you've got to check out my video called The Affordable Housing Crisis Just Got Worse, where I dive into a multitude of issues that led us here. We'll get back to that video in a minute, but first, I need to tell you about a golden opportunity for investors that's happening right now. Mortgage rates have plummeted in anticipation of the Federal Reserve cutting interest rates at their upcoming meeting in September. Now, it's good news for buyers, and it has presented a unique overlap in the investing world right now. Remember, when mortgage rates spiked last year, well, a lot of sellers started offering incentives to help investors achieve positive cash flow. For example, my company, Morris Invest, and our team over at Sedera Wealth started offering clients a rate buy-down credit. Now, a rate buy-down drastically reduces your mortgage payment. And if you've ever run the numbers on an investment property, you know that's a big deal. Now, here's where the golden opportunity comes in. When mortgage rates change, it can take a while for other things like seller incentives to start catching up. So even though you can get a mortgage rate in the low sixes right now, and that could be even lower by the time you're seeing this video, right now you can also lock in a rate buy-down credit on top of that. And this is huge, people, huge. With the two combined, our team's finance expert said he's seeing our clients locking in rates he hasn't seen in years. But here's the catch. The window of opportunity here is very narrow. This overlap will close very soon. So those seller incentives are going to fall off very, very soon. There are two more reasons to move quickly on this. One, prices are rising week over week. And now that rates are going down, they're going to spike even more dramatically, which will be made worse by two, increasing competition. Potential buyers have been sitting on the sidelines just waiting for rates to drop. And now that they have, they're going to flood the market, reproduce bidding wars, pushing prices even higher. If you need a refresher on the advantages of owning real estate, like how it delivers 4 streams of income through number 1, appreciation and equity gains, number 2, principal reduction by your tenants, number 3, tax benefits and depreciation, and number 4, cash flow, I'll link another video in the description so you can check that out. But if you've done your research and you already understand why build-to-rent properties in high-growth rental markets are a great path to financial freedom, then take action right now. You do not want to miss out on this opportunity to fast-track your investing strategy. Cash in on this narrow overlap of lower rates and seller incentives while it's here. Click the link below and schedule a free call right now. It could be the most important call you make this year. Although this housing shortage issue has certainly worsened in recent years, the problem has been brewing for years, if not decades. I want to remind you that just as there's not one main cause of the affordable housing crisis, there's also not one single solution. Things like lower rates will help. Adding supply to the market will certainly provide some relief. And of course, some relief may come as the lockout effect weakens, but there's not just one solution that's going to alleviate lack of supply at this level. The housing market is short millions of units right now. That can't change overnight, or even with a 4-year presidency. Even if President Trump is there, it doesn't matter. Can't change it overnight. The federal government has a terrible track record of dealing with housing issues, and I wouldn't expect that to change anytime soon. And so Kamala Harris throws out this idea for new low-cost government housing. This is going to be a disaster. Wants to take us back to the 1960s and 1970s. Government housing? How did that work out for us? The projects and $25,000 down payments? This is a disaster. We're printing money that we don't have and going to be taken back to the 1970s in the United States. So I hope this video gave you some things to think about in terms of the housing crisis that we're currently in right now. Hopefully gave you a broader understanding of what's happening in this housing market right now. I'd love if you could leave me a comment below and let me know your thoughts on the connection between the housing market and this election. Who do you think is pandering right now? And let us know your current situation. You know, how much are you paying for your mortgage? What does your mortgage rate look like right now? Have you been holding back on buying a home because you're waiting? Let us know in the comments below. And in this next video, you're going to learn about why the middle class is dying off right now. So just click the card right here on your screen, and I'll see you in the next video.